Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host Boyze, and this is our WrestleMania 35 review. What a show we got last night. This is why WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year for WWE, and it just showed. It had everything you want from a WrestleMania. It had its ups, it had its downs. It was just so entertaining from start to finish. So let's just get straight on with it. This is Smack Talk's WrestleMania 35 review. Hit the music. So first things first, let's start off with the Cruiserweight match. Again, I just don't understand why the Cruiserweight Championship is always on the kickoff show at WrestleMania. These guys just are absolute fun to watch. If you've seen Tony Nese versus Buddy Murphy, it was a brilliant kickoff match for everyone. It was like, why is this free? Because it's so damn good. This story's been going on since Tony Nese won the tournament to become #1 contender. Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy, former friends. Tony Nese being the extra security for Buddy Murphy's championship for some time, and now it was just a brilliant match. I was so lucky I managed to capture it just in time. I just landed back from my holidays just in time to watch the kickoff show, and I'm so glad I didn't miss this match. It was so much fun. Tony Nese did get the victory. It was a hell of a hard fought match, but again, I still need to ask the question, why is the Cruiserweight Championship always on the kickoff show? Because 205 is a hidden gem on the WWE Network, guys. If you haven't watched it for a while, trust me, go back, check it out. It's really good right now. Go and watch 205, that's all I can say. But Tony Nese now being the champion is going to be very interesting. I can't wait to see where this storyline goes, and to see if Buddy Murphy now goes from 205 to one of the main rosters like Raw or Smackdown. It will be interesting for all that. So saying all this, what am I going to score this match? Well, there's only one obvious score. It's a free match, and it was bloody brilliant, so it's going to get a 3 out of 5 from me. A fantastic way to kick off your kickoff show for WrestleMania. Next up, we had the Women's Battle Royale. Now, if you weren't named Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey, you were chucked into this match unless you had a tag team match to go to. And that's what it kind of felt like. I honestly felt sorry for all the SmackDown women who were involved in this, because Asuka, Carmella, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, all these ones who kind of nearly had a storyline going into WrestleMania had that demolished, giving the title to Charlotte, and they were chucked straight onto the kickoff show where they really didn't get to shine. Let's be honest, a battle royale is never really, it's so much carnage. It's like watching a car crash after a car crash. You don't really get to see too much highlights. My biggest shock factor for the whole night for me was that Dana Brooke actually did quite well. It did go down to the last two where it was Carmella versus Sarah Logan from the Riot Squad. And shock horror, I actually thought, well, Sarah Logan, she kind of might have a bit of a push now on Raw. No, she got eliminated, and Carmella won the second ever Women's Battle Royale. Okay, was not expecting Carmella out of all of them. I was putting all my money on Asuka to win, because after they screwed Asuka on SmackDown Live, I thought, give her the Battle Royale trophy, a little WrestleMania moment. But no, let's give that to Carmella. So, what am I going to give this score? Again, I'm not a huge fan of the Battle Royales at WrestleMania, because, again, it's a car crash. So what I'm going to give this is a 2 out of 5. I think that's a fair score for a WrestleMania Battle Royale. Next up on the kick-off show, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match, where we saw the Revival putting their titles up against none other than Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Now, if you saw what happened at the Hall of Fame ceremony, and that, let's not call him a fan because he was not a fan. Let's call that stupid idiot a stupid idiot. Attacked Bret Hart and then Dash Wilder came out, he beat the crap out of that fan, and, you know, made sure Bret Hart was secure. So end of the day, the Revival were going to have a hell of a lot of support from the WWE Universe, and they did. Zack Ryder and obviously Hawkins were the baby faces in this storyline, but they managed to get the crowd really starting to cheer for them near the end of the match, and that's a really good way of telling, hey, the Revival are such a good heel team. Even when you know they've done something brilliant the night before, they can still get the crowd to hate them on match night, and that's exactly what you got. You started off cheering for them, and then you started booing them near the end, which is always a great thing. The match itself was a little bit painted by numbers, because, let's be honest, Curt Hawkins was at 260 odd losses in a row. The stars will shine. They're both from New York. They both haven't won in so long. It was kind of like in the stars that Zack Ryder and Curt Hawkins were going to win the Raw Tag Team titles on the kickoff show, and they did. And I won't lie, I kind of popped. I got shouted at for popping twice during the kickoff show during the night, mainly for this one, because I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Hawkins was the one to pin to get the victory. And later on I'll talk about the second time I got shouted out for popping. But this was it was a nice little WrestleMania moment. It was good to see Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder get the victory as well. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I think that's a good score, because end of the day, Hawkins finally beat the streak, and that's always more important than winning the Raw Tag Team titles, it seems right now. Last but not least, on the kick-off show, we had the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, and let's be honest, the biggest talking factors for the Battle Royale at this point was Braun Strowman destroying the SNL guys, and everything else kind of didn't matter. At the end, it seemed like it could have been Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy. It could have been anyone at one point who could have won it. The SNL guys got out of the match really quickly. Not out, they didn't eliminate themselves quickly. They got out of the ring and hid under the ring till it was Braun Strowman and the Hardy Boys who were the last 3 in the ring. And it was just like, once you saw the SNL guys get out from bottom of the ring and back into the ring, you were like, Braun's going to win this, and he's going to destroy these two. And you know what, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I don't know who these guys are, the SNL guys, but I will give them credit. They took a few bumps, and they did really well for that. They didn't do anything, they didn't eliminate anyone, they just hid, got out, got destroyed, and that was it. But they actually did a good job on that. They didn't take a lot of spotlight. They got out of the ring straight away, so the wrestlers could do what they needed to do in the Battle Royale. And let's be honest, who else but the Monster Among Men was going to win the Battle Royale? So what am I going to give this score? I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. It was very predictable, but it was fun to see Braun Strowman just toss around non-wrestling people around the ring. And we also had a therapist who was, let's be, a local jobber who also got destroyed by Braun Strowman, and that's always fun to watch as well. So like I stated, a 2 out of 5. So this is kicking off the main show itself for WrestleMania, and we had the host of WrestleMania 35 herself, Alexa Bliss, and she made a huge announcement. She wanted to prove to everyone she is the best ever WrestleMania host, and she brought back none other than the Hall of Famer and disgraced wrestler Hulk Hogan. Yes, I am still going to say he's a disgrace for everything. It doesn't matter how much charity work and everything he's done, I still do not forgive Hulk Hogan for what he said. So yes, Hulk Hogan is back. It's his first WrestleMania since what he did, and he had a bit of a, cheeky little welcome to the Silver Dome, to a little nod for his WrestleMania 30 hosting, and him and Alexa Bliss just started posing, doing Hulkster moves. Yes, a few of the fans did cheer. It sounded like a lot of the fans were happy to see Hogan back, but I'm not I'm not going to say, yes, I'm glad to see Hulk Hogan. I was a bit shocked to see him, but end of the day, he was at the Hall of Fame ceremony, so he's kind of been at WrestleMania all weekend. I'm just going to give this a 2.5. It's higher up because I know there's a lot of my friends who are massive Hulk Hogan fans who would have been happy to see Hogan back. But for me personally, I wasn't too fussed. I wasn't too bothered about him returning, so a 2.5 feels about right because I'm giving that little bit extra points for my friends who I know do enjoy seeing Hulk Hogan back in WWE. But let's be honest, the shock start of the match was none other than the Universal title match. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman interrupted Alexa Bliss and Hulk Hogan came running, walked down the ramp really stern and said, if my client isn't the last of the night, then he's coming out first. And bloody hell, he came out. The Beast Incarnate came out. The fans were I think everyone was a bit shocked that the Universal title was kicking off WrestleMania, the main show of WrestleMania. And I'm so glad they did. It was a great way to start the show. Seth Rollins comes out, a great way. He had like a Brock Lesnar kind of video thing where it was the Beast symbol and it was like a really slow-mo version of Brock's music. I mean, you saw the swords come out. I mean, it was the Beast Slayer. And I've got to give Seth again credit. He was fantastic in this match. Brock Lesnar just comes out before the match even starts destroying Seth Rollins all around the ring area, throwing him through tables, into the German announcers. He just wasn't giving a crap. He was telling the referee to start the match, and the ref was making sure Seth was alright. The ref did finally start the match. Brock looked like it was going to be a quick squash match. Even the commentator said Brock Lesnar has just destroyed Seth Rollins before the match even starts. Great way to start the match for me. Referee gets bumped. There's one ref bump. We hadn't seen them for a while, so it was cool to see that. Ref gets bumped. Seth Rollins low blow to Brock Lesnar. 3 stomps, curb stomps of Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins is our new Universal Champion. Again, I did put Seth down to win, but I was so shocked it happened after that dominant start where Brock is just destroying Seth. I was like, this is how they're going to write it. So Brock does win, but he has to destroy Seth. But my God, I don't mind Seth had to cheat to win, to defeat the Beast. He had to cheat, but Brock cheated beforehand. So let's be honest, all fair in this match. He got the victory. We have a new Universal title holder, and my God, what a way to start the show. I am giving this a 4 out of 5. It was a shock, brilliant turn, brilliant way to start the show. I just loved every second of it. WWE creative, whoever said let's put the Universal match first, was a genius. Continuing a really strong start to the show, we had AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, pretty much an indie darling versus a WWE guy, and this was a hell of a match. I knew this was going to be a strong match from both men. When Randy is bothered and when Randy really wants to put on a match, he really does. It's a bit like Brock Lesnar, but Randy is a professional. He's so good in the ring, and this match really highlighted how good Randy Orton's selling is, his ability in the ring. He was fantastic, and I gotta give credit where credit is due, because you kind of forget, because let's be honest, we all think of Randy Orton, we think of the RKO. We don't think about his selling, his in-ring ability, and he does have a fantastic in-ring ability, and it really highlighted that against AJ Styles. AJ Styles, on the other hand, is a hell of a wrestler. He's, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the world right now, and this showed it. This was one of those matches you can put onto a non-wrestling fan, and you would just go, there you go, here it is, and they would enjoy it. And this is the type of match. It's like the match where you have like Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn win. That was at TakeOver, and everyone's talked about it being this is a critical match where it just was for me a brilliant storytelling match. There were so many times where the RKO nearly came out of nowhere. Both men were countering each other. They just knew each other's techniques so well, and you could just tell they've studied each other for months and months and months before this match, and they worked on it. You could tell they had worked on this match because it just felt like it was so smooth. AJ did get the victory. It was a shock victory. I honestly started to think that Randy was going to win. Obviously, he's a WWE guy. AJ Styles is well known for being an indie guy, and you know, even though he has been WWE champion twice, and we all, you know, he is the guy who built SmackDown Live, we still think of AJ as one of our indie stars, and this match was just a fantastic way. I think this is one of AJ's best match. This is better than AJ's match last year at WrestleMania. Fantastic showing from both men. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 for this match. Next up, we had The Miz versus Shane O'Mac. Oh my god. This falls count anywhere match. This was a brilliant match. Shane O'Mac was absolutely cocky. He got announced as the best in the world. It wasn't said just right, so he threatened the announcer again to call it out properly. Then The Miz comes out. He goes and sees his father. His dad is in front row. Miz and Shane start messing about. Shane gets out of the ring, threatens The Miz's father again. There's a bit where The Miz gets distracted. Shane takes advantage. He starts beating the crap out of The Miz. He's laid out on the table. It looks like Shane's about to jump through to The Miz on the table, but The Miz's dad jumps the barricades, tries to stop Shane from beating up his son, you know, protect his son. And then Shane beats the crap out of Mr. Miz. Miz gets angry. He starts, like, from there on, The Miz is in absolute control. He starts wailing on Shane O'Mac everywhere. They go absolutely everywhere. And this is, again, you don't often get to see this, where superstars are going through the crowd at a WrestleMania, beating the crap out of each other, and the crowd were just going mental and mental. And of course, they ended up at the camera crew stage, where it is slightly high. It's quite high up. And what happens? Both men are going. It looks like Shane is about to jump on The Miz. The Miz manages to get up above time before Shane can jump. This Miz starts beating the crap out of Shane yet again. It looks like he's going for a suplex. Both men go flying, but because Shane lands slightly awkward and lands on top of The Miz, the referee does the 3 count. The Shane O'Mac beats The Miz in a falls count anywhere match. But you definitely know that even though Shane won the match, Miz won the battle throughout, and the crowd were absolutely. I think the crowd were a bit annoyed that heel Shane O'Mac finally got a win. I really enjoyed this match. Again, a really good match. This is the match where I got told off for popping in the car, because I was watching it while someone was driving, and I went, oh my god, and they told me, dude, you need to calm down, you nearly scared the crap out of me while I'm driving. So that was fantastic. I really enjoyed the match itself. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I think people predicted Shane would win now because he is heel. He usually loses when he's a face, so when he's a heel he does win. But yeah, a 3 out of 5 is a perfect score for us. The Miz was absolutely fantastic. Now I can't wait to see where this takes The Miz. Hopefully we get to see him as WWE Champion in the future. Next up, we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. Again, I am so glad that the Usos are on the main card at WrestleMania, because they are the best tag team in the world. And I don't care what a certain magazine says and keeps giving it to a certain indie tag team who, yeah, they are fantastic, and I would say second best tag team in the world. But hell, I'm always going to say this right now, speaking as a team who are competing in nearly every week, the Usos are the best tag team in the world. And they were taking on The Bar, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev, and Ricochet and Aleister Black. This all match started because the Usos forfeited their match against Big E and Xavier Woods when they were doing the gauntlet match, and this was their punishment. And my God, what a match! This was a high flying match, and this was tag team wrestling at its best. It was chaotic, but absolutely, when all the chaos ended and when it started to get down to teams really showcasing what they could do, my God, Ricochet is mental. Aleister Black is fantastic. These two men are going to be huge stars on the main roster. I know they're fantastic in NXT. I just can't wait to win. They don't have to do these tag matches together, and they can just go on their singles runs. It will be amazing. I have to give credit where credit is due. I was hoping the Hardy Boys would replace Shinsuke and Rusev, but no, they did a fantastic job. I've got to say, Rusev and Shinsuke have chemistry. I was a little bit surprised, but it does work. They were really good. Yes, they were the weakest team in this match, but they looked really good in this match. And the Bar were just absolutely brilliant. One of the best tag teams in the world right now, and they're just showing it every single time they're in the ring. They were fun. They were absolutely the powerhouse team in the whole bloody match, and they showed it throughout it all. It looked like a few times any team could have won it, including Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. But no, it turned into near the end, it was the Usos versus the Bar, which is a match which we all know is a great match in anyway. And the Usos doing the double Us to get the pinfall on Cesaro to continue being our SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Fantastic match. Loved every single part of it. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Great match. This moved us on to another tag team match where it was the Women's Tag Team Championship match between Bayley and Sasha Banks defending against Natalya and Beth Phoenix, the IIconics, and Nia Jax and Tamina. This was, again, a really good match. The first time ever the Women's Tag Team Championships had been defended on WrestleMania, and I think the women did a fantastic job in this match. Beth Phoenix was absolutely brilliant. She didn't look like she lost a step at all. She actually looked, for me, in certain parts of her match, better than she's ever done in ring. Now, if this is it, that's it for Beth Phoenix. She can go home and say, look, I had a hell of a match at WrestleMania. Probably the best match I've ever had at a WrestleMania. There you go. And I wouldn't blame her. I would not blame her saying that's it. That's, because we don't know how long Beth Phoenix is back from retirement. It might have just been for this one match, but my gosh, she did a fantastic job. Definitely the crowd was behind Natalya and Beth Phoenix for the majority of the match. Obviously, after what had happened with Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame ceremony, I think most of the crowd was cheering for Natalya. Bayley and Sasha Banks were absolutely fantastic in this match as well, but it was nice to see everyone trying to take out Tamina and Nia Jax. They did dominate for a little bit. They weren't really too much in the match itself. The IIconics as well were really good in the matches. For me, they showed a very cunning style for tag team. Again, for me, the IIconics are the true women's tag team because end of the day, that's what they've always been since NXT's time. They've always teamed up. They've always been a tag team where Bayley and Sasha Banks feel like they are becoming more and more of a tag team, but it feels more like the IIconics have always been a tag team. But it looked like Beth Phoenix was going to get the victory. She had Bayley all set up. It was almost there, and then the IIconics came out of nowhere. Beth Phoenix hit a finisher from the top rope. The IIconics came out of nowhere, chucked Beth, most clumsiest throw out of a ring I've ever seen. 1, 2, 3. The IIconics shockingly are our new women's tag team champions because of the shock, because I did enjoy this match, and because Beth Phoenix was absolutely the MVP in this match. For me, I am going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars. This moved us on to possibly the match most fans were looking forward to. Now, don't get me wrong, I think everyone was interesting to see how the main event was going to go down. But I think because that storyline has been dragged out for so long, this match itself was the match for me, where everyone, because it was the most freshest rivalry. It had the best build in majority of the time lately. It was Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE title. Very, very surprised where this match landed on the card. I honestly thought this was going to be second to last match or third to last. I didn't expect it at this point, but I think it was the perfect time to do it. I honestly do. It just was a fun match. Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, I will give them credit. It was so hard hitting. It was so, like, there was so many points during the match itself. I was going, Kofi's not going to win this. There's no way. They're going to build it up, and Daniel's going to get the running knee, and he's going to get the thing. And there was so many times Daniel hit the running knee, and it was like, that's it. The match is over. Rollins got taken out as well during the match as well. He tried to stop Kofi from attacking Daniel Bryan. He stood in the middle, and then Big E and Xavier Woods started They got beaten up first by Rollins. Then they got more momentum. Then Big E got back up, picked him up. We got the up, down, took out Rollins, and that allowed Kofi. And I thought, oh, that's it. This is now the end of the match. This is it. Kofi's going to hit the SOS or Trouble in Paradise, and that's it. No, we continued the match a little bit more. Daniel Bryan using the knee stomp to the head, which was absolutely, I was like, oh no, we're going to get a swerve here. Daniel's going to win after all that. And then, finally, Trouble in Paradise. 1, 2, 3. Kofi Kingston is the new WWE Champion. I liked what they did all night. They put the championships on little, stands. So throughout the night, that the audience could see the championship next to the announce table, and they put the Daniel Bryan's one up. Big E and that lot was celebrating. Big E picks up the Daniel Bryan world title, drops it, and they unveil the original WWE Championship, the old black and gold one, and give it back to Kofi with the custom Kofi plates already on there. Big E also had another surprise for Kofi. New merchandise shirts, that's right, Kofi as world champion. Kofi's kids came into the ring. Everyone went mental when this match ended. Great storytelling. So many swerves throughout the whole match where it just had you on the edge of your seat, and that just shows you how good of a match can really be. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Again, just like the Seth Rollins Universal title, there were so many swerves, and you just didn't know what was going to happen near the end. That's the best thing about it. Like I stated, it's a 4 out of 5. What a WWE title match. Better than last year's by far. Next up, we had the United States Championship match where we saw Rey Mysterio taking on Samoa Joe for the US title. And this was a short match. Obviously, Rey he got injured. It was reported he was injured. He got cleared, and the match was very short. But it did what it needed to do. And the one thing people are going to go, hold on, if it was a really short match and Samoa Joe won, he did, why are you giving it a 3 out of 5? And this is the reason it is. Joe's lost a lot of matches, and he needed to look dominant in this match, and that's what they did. Yes, Rey's a big fan favourite, and that's natural. We're always going to root for Rey Mysterio. But when you want Samoa Joe to look like a beast, destroy like a beast, and destroy a legend like Rey Mysterio like he did, just makes Samoa Joe feel like the most dangerous man right now on Smackdown Live. And that's what it did. Samoa Joe's had a lot of defeats lately, and this has allowed him to feel like a legitimate badass again. So for me, it gets a 3 out of 5. A hell of a match from Samoa Joe. Next up, we had Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. This was Roman's first singles match since beating leukemia, and my god, this was a good match. I will give Drew McIntyre tons of credit. He worked his ass off. Really made Roman look like a superstar. Roman was a superstar anyway. He looked fantastic. But having like an opponent like Drew McIntyre, a professional like him, who can sell, work his ass off during the match, that's all you need. And this was a hell of a match. Roman and Drew deserve all the credit for a fantastic match. It was very predictable. I think everyone in the crowd knew that Roman was going to win this match, obviously being his first singles match since coming back from beating cancer. So that was no brainer. It was nice to see the crowd cheering for Roman. You still got a few boos. That's fine. You know, let them have a few boos against Roman. I think it's going to be like the Kurt Angle thing in a few years' time, where we'll boo Roman, but it'll be like saying he sucks, just like we did with Kurt Angle over the years, even when we like him. But yeah, really good match, hard hitting. Roman looked really clean in the match itself as well. It's a solid singles match, and I think that's what we needed to see from both men. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5, mainly because it had that, you know, it had a really good factor to it as well. Next up, we had Elias's musical entertainment. There was a cool little video package where he was playing guitar live, but he had him playing piano and drums pre-recorded. Really mixed it really well, really entertainment. Then he was interrupted by a video of Babe Ruth hitting a baseball, the best in the world, and he was interrupted again by John Cena. But it was somehow John Cena has gone back in time, and it's John Cena from 2002. And my God, John Cena's rapping is terrible, but it was entertaining. I think the crowd absolutely loved that John Cena had come out in his old gear, 2002 John Cena, when we kind of like that John Cena, and he beats up on Elias, and that was it. I really liked it. I liked that. I'm not going to repeat what John Cena said because it is fun. Just check it out on YouTube, because I'm sure that clip is going to be online very soon, just like the AJ Styles meme with his hair. But my God, it was an awesome little... I was expecting something like someone to interrupt Elias, but John Cena from 2002, gimmick, brilliant, loved it. Moves us on to probably one of the hardest hitting matches I've seen in such a long time, and it had to be two veterans, Batista versus Triple H. It's a no holds bar match. If Triple H loses, he will retire from in-ring activity. Wow! This was a hard-hitting match. So many times, Triple H came across like an absolute badass. He pulled out Batista's nose ring. He pulled it out, guys. He trapped his knuckles. If you didn't tell anyone who was who, like a non-wrestling fan, they would honestly think Triple H was the villain throughout this match, because the things he tortured Batista at the start. Yes, Batista was an arsehole, but there was so many little swerves I liked in this match. Reasons were because you had Shawn Michaels on commentator as special guest commentator, and I'm like, Shawn's going to get involved. Shawn's going to get involved to help Triple H here. And you didn't have that. I mean, you're like, oh man, what? And Batista's threatening Shawn Michaels throughout the whole match. You're like, oh, okay, maybe not. We're not going to get Shawn. What's going to happen? I knew someone was going to come out and help Triple H. I said that when I was watching. I was like, someone's going to come out. Triple H is going to win, but who? Or is someone going to help Batista? Like Randy Orton's going to come out of nowhere and hit him with an RKO. Is that what's going to happen? And Batista and Randy Orton are going to walk away together as a partnership. But it was so hard hitting. There was so many times you're like, oh my God. Triple H got the sledgehammer out. Of course, it's WrestleMania. It's against one of his former associates. He's gonna get the sledgehammer out. It's his signature move now for Triple H when it comes to these type of matches. And you're like, oh my God. I mean, what happens? None other than the dirtiest player in the game in history of wrestling. Ric Flair comes out. He gives Triple H another sledgehammer. Both men are going out by this point. They're both absolutely destroyed each other. Triple H one last time with the sledgehammer. Pedigree 1, 2, 3. Triple H does win, but what a hard hitting match throughout it all. I loved every single part of it. Like I said, it was like watching torture though, at the start, with Triple H just destroying Batista with these tools he got from a toolbox. He just, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Just, oh my god, I can't describe it as much as I could like that. Next up we had Curt Angle's last ever WWE match, and this was against Baron Corbin. And straight away, I'm not gonna lie guys, this was probably the weakest match on the main card itself. Again, I think, did they need to do what they did? I will talk about that in a second, but it looked like Angle was gonna get the victory, and like I said, there you go, spoiler alert, Curt Angle should have got the victory. Because Baron Corbin, does he need that type of heat? I don't think so. I don't think the crowd are that invested in Baron Corbin for him to get a big victory like he did last night. But yeah, the match itself was nothing too particularly great. Corbin hit him with the Deep Six and End of Days, and that was it. It was end of a match. It didn't last too long either. It was about 15 minutes. And it just, again, you had the ankle slam, you had the ankle lock. It was just like, oh, that's it. We need to see that. I just wish it would have just been ankle slam, ankle lock. There we go. Curt Angle wins, goes off into the sunset. But no, he gets up quite quickly afterwards, after his defeat. Gets the crowd to chant "You suck" as a farewell, and he just thanks the WWE Universe. It's a sad way to say goodbye to Curt Angle, because he's lost to a man I don't think anyone really wanted him to give a rub to. I can understand Curt Angle's probably a professional. He's gone, look, I think Baron Corbin is, a future WWE champion in some way. This will be a big rub for him, and I understand where they're coming from. They're looking at a future star, someone passing the torch in some way, and it's a big victory for for Baron Corbin over Curt Angle. But for me, it just felt like the wrong person was in this match. But I'm going to give this a 2.5, because Curt Angle's speech afterwards was really touching, and it is sad to see Curt Angle, but it is about time he does retire and enjoys his retirement from in-ring in-ring matches. Next up we had Bobby Lashley versus the Demon Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Again, this was a little bit longer than I was expecting, but a damn good match. Finn was in control for the start of the match. Bobby Lashley started reversing it, so I was like, oh man, Bobby Lashley's going to win now. Demon's going to get his first defeat, and it's going to happen at WrestleMania. But no, Finn did. He weathered the storm. He took down Bobby Lashley. He got the victory, and the Demon has won the Intercontinental Championship. Damn, why does Finn Balor not use the Demon more often? If it's so effective and he wins every single time he is the Demon, why are we not having it every single time? Like I said, it wasn't a long match. You could tell that they possibly had been told, look, we're running a bit late, guys. You just need to get out there, have a quick match. And that's what they did. It was a decent enough match. Definitely a lot better than what we got with Baron Corbin versus Curt Angle. And it cheered the crowd up. We had Curt lose and the crowd were a bit low. And you had Finn win as the Demon, so everyone was happy again. And it got us straight to the main event after this as well. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. It did its job. It was a quick match. It made the fans happy, and it got them ready for the main event of the night. Last but not least for the night, it was the triple threat winner takes all. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch for the Smackdown and Raw Women's Championship. Before the match started, we saw Charlotte Flair flying in a helicopter, landing near the stadium and walking towards the stadium on a red carpet. We had Ronda Rousey have a musical intro to her WrestleMania, and Becky Lynch just comes out just kind of normal, really. She's kind of done up a little bit, but she didn't have a special entrance. She just had on the back screen the man. And who else was gonna win this match? Come on. The match itself was really fun. I actually enjoyed the main event. It's possibly better than last year's main event at WrestleMania. By far, after Brock Lesnar beating Roman for the Universal title, this was exactly what the fans wanted. A hard-hitting match. It looked like Charlotte could have won it, or Ronda Rousey at any point through this whole match. But my God, the selling, the bumps, so there were parts in the match where Ronda Rousey had put Charlotte into an armbar over the ring. Becky just flies under Charlotte's legs, kicks Ronda in the face. She goes flying. There's parts where Ronda's leg is bruised and beaten, and you can tell she can barely stand on it, and that's great selling by Ronda Rousey. Now, Becky Lynch getting thrown about, getting speared a few times. There's a bit where Becky got the table out. She gets beaten up. Charlotte puts the table in the corner. Becky and Ronda pick up Charlotte, throw it right into the table. The table doesn't break, but that puts Charlotte out. For the rest of the match at this point, looks like Ronda gets Becky Lynch up on her shoulders. She's going for the Piper's Pit. Becky manages to pull her body weight over, gets Ronda Rousey into a pinning position. The referee counts 3. Does look like Ronda does get her arm up. For me, I think that's Ronda's mistake during the match. I think that is it. I definitely think Becky was supposed to win clean, but Ronda made a mistake. She got her arm up when she shouldn't have, when the cameras were showing. That's fine if Ronda wants to be that type of character. Oh, I got my character. That's fine. She did lose, and we have a new Raw and Smackdown Women's Champion. Becky Lynch is the man on 2 shows. What's going to happen now with Becky being the champion on 2 shows? Does that mean she's going to have to be on Raw and Smackdown, or does that mean she's going to have to forfeit the title of one of the shows? We'll have to wait and see. But my God, it was a great main event. I enjoyed every bit. I know some people didn't enjoy the main event too much, but for me it was so much fun. I'm going to give this another 4 out of 5. It was so much fun, a great way to end the show, and it made the crowd cheer non-stop. Like I said at the Kofi Kingston part of the review, this has probably been the longest going feud between Ronda, Charlotte and Becky Lynch. And it did get a bit stale, but this ending just finished it off perfectly for me. So like I said, 4 out of 5. So much fun. And there you go, guys. That was WrestleMania 35 review. What can I say? So much better than WrestleMania 34 by far. But it was, and 33. But it was so much fun. I don't think I had this much fun for a WrestleMania in a long time. Every match delivered, in my opinion. There was no weak part of the show. Even the Hulk Hogan bit, which I didn't enjoy, or the SNL bits, didn't matter because I know it was still fun, and I still enjoyed little bits of it, apart from the Hulk Hogan bit. But my friends enjoyed that, so that's good for them. So for me, I'm going to give WrestleMania 35 a 4 out of 5 stars. It was so much fun. I'm definitely gonna, I think I'm gonna re-watch WrestleMania again, just to enjoy it a little bit more, because it's one of those WrestleManias where you can re-watch it. It's that much fun. But what was your favourite match of all on WrestleMania 35 last night? Guys, leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe and press that bell to keep notified. And if you want to follow us on the old Twitter, it's at SmackTalkYouTube. That's a U and a tube. And if you want to follow me on the old Twitter, it's at Boyze88. And just a quick reminder, I am still the Smack Talk Predictions Champion. So, but I'll see you guys next time on Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.